morning, afternoon, and evening. It's Red with another Call of Dragons video. This is my third time making this thing, so it better be good. Okay, Season of Strife, War of the Last Snows, going to be focusing on the new classes. So let's just jump right into it. Here's what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to make it so that you guys don't know which one's the best, which one's the worst. I'm not going in any particular order, but guess what? There's going to be a major surprise based off of what everybody else has already been talking about, and I'm going to explain in detail. So let's go ahead and go with the worst. Proficiencies for the Engineer. Okay, the Engineer class, as a whole, you're going to build a turret. 3 turrets. It's going to cost you a lot. 15 AP, drop a turret, okay? You're going to get 3 more merits, or 10% more merits. You're going to reduce the cost of making said turrets. Here, you're going to have a choice of either extra direct damage to one target or an AoE effect. It's up to you which one you want to do, but I'm not sure any one is the right answer per se. Turret overclocking. Increase the sentry turret attack speed by 100% for 60 seconds. Once you place your turret, in order to activate this, the button is going to be located here. Okay? So keep that in mind. Don't freak out if you can't find it later on. It's going to be here. This will give you an extra attack speed for 100% up to 120 seconds. Okay? The turrets are only going to last for 5 minutes, and then they're gone. That's if they survive that long. They can also be dealt damage. Increases sentry turret range by 3. Okay. Increases sentry turret base attack by up to 20%. Okay. AP cost. Yep. Increases sentry turret build speed by 10%, up to 30%. Goes from 30 seconds to like 21. This could be helpful, right? This will keep the turret alive a little bit longer because once that time is up, it's going to go away. I think it comes out to about a minute, 30 seconds or so. That'll last longer. Anytime before sentry turret is destroyed, you can deploy Legion and scrap it by pressing the scrap button. You'll receive AP if you scrap it. And scrapping a sentry turret before it is dealt any damage grants you up to 2,000 merits. Okay, so at a high level KVK, this isn't going to do it, right? This isn't going to get you what you want. That being said, at a lower level KVK, these turrets will hurt. These turrets will do significant damage to T3s and T4s. So if you are in the C and D tier KVKs, check out this class. This class is not going to be terrible, but I think for the A's and the B tiers, this class, you're going to want something else. So, before we get any further, there is something to note here, and that is your class cooldown. You can change your class every 3 days, okay? Every 3 days you can change your class. Let me come back into here. I think right now I'm selected onto the Herbalist. Proficiency reset. You can change your proficiencies every 24 hours. Okay? Lots of flexibility with how you're going to handle your classes throughout the season. And yes, I do advise throughout the season changing your classes. So, since we're already here, let's talk about the Herbalist. It's a her. Not a herbalist. Okay, Panacea. Cost 15 AP, grants 30 to 50,000 elixir, which goes to you. When you do this, it goes to you. And 2 elixir boxes, which can be gifted to other players. Gifting an elixir box grants you 2,000 merits. This skill can be cast once per day and is refreshed at midnight UTC. Players can open elixir boxes to receive 20,000 to 40,000 elixir. Only non-herbalist players can receive this. So, when you deliver an herbalist box, an elixir box, you will have the option to select it here, and then you will be given a list to choose who gets it. And it will say who can or cannot receive the box, if they are an herbalist or if they've already received a box. So that's kind of a cool feature where, if you want to be selective and select your friends, or just see who does or doesn't have this as a good option. This is a great class for alts and farms. Okay, so let's keep going. Reduce AP cost of Panacea by 1. Panacea grants 3 more elixir boxes. Awesomeness, right? You can deliver 5 total boxes. Okay. Casting Panacea grants an additional 3,000 elixir up to 10,000, or casting Panacea has a 10% chance to grant an additional 40% elixir with a 25% fully upgraded thing. So you have a choice here, right? You can risk it for the biscuit, or you can just take your 40k over the course of 4 days and call it good. It's completely up to you. Again, I still think that this is going to primarily be used on farms. There could be in downtimes where you are not, you're not in a war, or you've got a calm down zone, or the zone is already over. Maybe you switch to this, and as you deliver your elixir, you get 30 to 50,000 plus another 10,000, or risking it for the biscuit, as I said, another 40,000 back to you. Great opportunity to gain more elixir in those ways. But again, if everybody has this, nobody's going to be able to receive it. So keep that in mind. It could be an opportunity too, where you pick this up and you go to the Farm Alliance where your farm account is, and you give yourself elixir. So well, actually, no, you can't. Just kidding. Can't receive it as an herbalist. But anyway, you could deliver more of these boxes to other people and get more elixir back from that. So casting Panacea has 50% chance to grant a Potion of Courage, Potion of Fortitude, or Potion of Relief. Potion of Courage. Legions deal 10% more damage to enemy melee legions for 10 minutes. Okay. So if you're facing Echo and all of their calves, pop one of those bad boys and you'll be able to do some extra damage. Legion takes 10% damage from enemy ranged legions for 10 minutes. Okay, that's pretty nice. Maybe pop that on your infantry. Okay, buff increased by 3% when using one of your own potions. Buff duration increased by 3 minutes when using one of your own potions. Okay. Gifting an elixir box grants you 3,000 alliance points up to 5,000. Rip. Gifting an elixir box grants you 300 merits up to 1,000. Rip. Okay, this is like my favorite thing, just because of the name of it. Rod of Asclepius. Isn't that fun to say? Asclepius. Okay, select one of your legions on the map to cast Rod of Asclepius on them. The legion heals 5 surrounding legions. Legions every 3 seconds, healing factor 300. You gain merits according to the amount of healing you grant. You can gain up to 100,000 for that. Okay. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, right? You give yourself Asclepius, and then you go give it to all your friends. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. Who doesn't want to give their friends Asclepius? Rod of Asclepius, AP cost goes down. Legions healed by the Rod of Asclepius take 3% less damage for 600 seconds. So, gets up to 10%. So, again, I think that this is a great class. I think it's very, very useful if used the right way, right? Use it on your farms. Bring your farm into the main accounts. And deliver gift chests to all of your friends. And then, if you come to an opportunity where you want to give your friends Asclepius, let them figure out how to get rid of it. Okay, whoops, went too far. I'm gonna get into this one. Because everybody wants to know about Warlord. Everybody's talking about Warlord, how it's the best. I disagree. For the next 30 minutes, lightly wounded units in your legion are healed after battle. The healing rate is equivalent to 50% of enemy units that the legion has defeated. Up to 1 million lightly wounded units can be healed. Cooldown 120 minutes. This to me is useful for like runic. It's gonna be, ultimately it's gonna result in more sevs, but potentially higher merit counts, or if you have to walk a long way, or TP staff opportunities, this is a great chance for you to stay there longer, right? Reduces stewardship cooldown by 10 minutes up to 30 minutes. It's pretty good. Increases stewardship duration by 3 minutes. Stewardship grants 10% more healing up to 20%. Extra 10 minutes or more healing. I guess it really comes down to whether or not you're hitting the million lightly wounded units healed. Reduces AP cost of stewardship by 1 up to 5. Legions receive 1% fewer sev wounds during stewardship. That's pretty good. I like that. That's very good. Legions gain 1% more merit when stewardship is active. It's useful in my opinion because a lot of people are able to max out their stores, especially in big fights. So that I would definitely go with the less sev wounds, because as you're healing, you're gonna receive more sevs. Okay, now we can get into the bread and butter. These two beasts right here. These are what make this Warlord class supposed to be amazing, supposed to be almighty, right? So, Spirit of Warfare. Legion deals 0.3% more damage for every 300,000 level 4 units in the ossuary. Stop for a second. Math time. Okay? 1% up to 10% when this thing is 3 out of 3. So, in order to receive 10% constant attack, you will have to have 3 million troops in their ossuary. Okay? 3 million T4 and above dead. Say it with me. 3 million dead troops in this KVK for this to be applied. Okay? Good luck. This is for Krakens with a Mega K who go to sleep in bastions. Like, that's where their beds are made. Okay? This is not for the average player. Okay? Just take that into consideration. Now, going into Heroic Resurgence. Legions deal 0.3% more damage for every 1 million level 4 units healed through resource healing this season. Okay? Same thing. 1% to 10%. Okay? Every 1 million level 4 unit and above, meaning not your donkeys. Not your donkeys. So in order to get 10% attack buff, you need 10 million resource healed T4 and above troops. 10 million. Okay? Massive. Much more doable than Spirit of Warfare. Much more doable. Okay? So, increase proportion of units revived in the ossuary by 1%. Okay? Increase Legion march speed by up to 10%. Okay? Reduces cost of resource healing by 1%. Alright, this is a big one. This is a big one. Very, 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 very nice. Increases routed legions march speed by 30%. Okay, we've covered this one. Let's talk about where it's useful. This is something that you build up over time, right? You don't need it to be on for the entire KVK. Once you activate this, these buffs are already going to be activated based off of how much you have A, dead, and B, resource healed. This class is not something you unlock and use in the beginning of a season. It's not. Okay? If that's what you want to do, by all means. My personal opinion, do not do it. Build these up throughout the season, and this is something you put on at Final Zone. When you already have 300,000, 600,000, 900,000 dead troops, you get those. You maybe have already done resource healing throughout the KVK. Maybe you've got, I don't know, 7, 8 million resource healed. I mean, maybe more, depending on the KVK you're in. Right? So you might be, looking at, somewhere between 10% of an active attack buff that you can use for Final Zone, where this class is going to be the most effective. But remember, you can reset your class every 3 days. After you reset, it's 3 days, and then you can reset. So something that you may want to consider is a couple days before Final Zone, you activate this class, right? And you have it set to increase march speed back by 30%, up to 100%. So KVK begins, the Final Zone begins, you're getting your troops back super quick, awesome, whatever. And then at this point, it's time to resource heal. You, every 24 hours, can reset your proficiencies, so then you change this. And I did verify that there is no cooldown time when you change class to when you can change proficiency. You change class, you can immediately reset your proficiencies. So you can, if you're 12 hours into the Final Zone and it's time for you to resource heal, bang, you can just reset them, even if you had just switched over to the Stewardship, to the Warlord class. So that is going to be huge and something super effective. Again, I really think that this is going to be a Final Zone class and not like throughout the KVK class, unless you are one of those mega Krakens that is just, you don't care about deaths, you're swarming cities, like you don't care, right? This is going to be the class for you throughout the KVK, but for the average player, let this build in the background, okay? That leaves us with Druid, which in my opinion, for the most part, is going to be the most effective class for the average player throughout the course of the KVK. You have the Rite of Impetus. Select one of your legions on the map to cast Rite of Impetus on them after a short charge up. 5 Alliance legions surrounding the legion gain Impetus plus 10% for 15 minutes while in the field. When a legion with Impetus gains merits, you also receive 5% of the merits and the legions gained. You can gain a maximum of 150,000 merits through this each week. Okay, so something to keep in mind with this buff is if you get buffed by the Rite of Impetus and you die, your buff is gone, right? So those stand and bang, those rush in with your calves kind of thing, right? Like once you die, you're done, right? Now you got to wait for the cooldown to finish or get a buff from somebody else, okay? Reduces Rite of Impetus cooldown by 5 minutes. Cost of Impetus goes down. Leeches with Impetus deal 3% more counterattack damage, up to 10%. Legions with Impetus deal 3% more normal attack damage, up to 10%. I would talk to some of your top damage dealers and stuff like that. This is going to be a really tough decision to make, I think. I'm leaning towards counterattack damage and placing it on my ranged units. I feel a little stronger about that. But I haven't quite committed to it yet. So I don't know. Think on it, and I don't know. That's a tough decision for me. Verdant Boom. When casting Rite of Impetus, 3 of your own nearby legions also gain it, up to 5. Okay, so you've already buffed 5 legions. Now you're buffing 5 of your own. Okay, very nice. When your legions have impetus, they gain 3% up to 10% more merits. GG's. When your legions have impetus, they receive 3% fewer sev wounds in battle, up to 10%. I'll take the sev wounds. Thank you. Increase impetus duration by 1 minute, up to 5. Okay, again, comes down to survivability. If you walk in there and you get just truck sticked, well, you're not getting all the benefits anymore. So you gotta wait again. Increase impetus attack bonus by 1%, up to 5%. Longer or more damage? Longer or more damage? I don't know. 3 more Alliance legions can gain impetus from Rite of Impetus. Okay, so you're already at 5. You've now buffed 5 of your own, and you're going to buff 5 more. 15 legions from one of these. 15 people are going to get a big buff. Big buff. Somewhere in the area of, 20, maybe even 25% attack bonus. Okay? Increases maximum weekly limits for merits gained through Rite of Impetus by 10,000. When Alliance legions with impetus gain merits, you also gain 1% up to 5%. Okay. So, going through these classes again, right? Warlord, end of season, final zone. Let your deads and let your resource hills build up so that the attack buff that you're going to use is going to be more effective. Herbalist is going to be used on your alts and your farms, right? Bring them into the main alliance. Donate to everybody. Give everybody elixir. Do good things. As an engineer, I still think, man, that hair is red. It's nice, right? So as an engineer, I think that this is going to be a much more effective class, again, in the C and D rankings. All right? It's not going to be as effective. And also remember, you're only going to have 5 or so minutes while your turret is out. So you're going to have to place your turret as the enemy is rushing you, and then you're going to have to place the next turret as they're rushing you, and you're going to have to place the next one as they're rushing you, and it's just... This may be more effective if one of your towers is being destroyed, right? Everybody, a planned sneak attack, everybody comes in, drops turrets around, and you might be able to get some survivability on your tower, regain field control, and start getting some of that HP on the tower back. That's probably what I think is going to be the most effective use of this turret. Okay? And then again, the Druid, something to keep in mind is that once your Legion dies, it's going to lose the buff that it receives. So it's not something to, stand and bang with. You're going to want to receive the buff and then go and strategically fight. I would not place this on Agora Skogul, even if you have the bonus counter damage, because you're just going to, rush in there and then splat, there goes the bonus, and that's it. So, and then one last thing that I wanted to talk about is going to be where you're going to get the proficiencies. You're going to get them from 2 places. You're going to get them from here in your season policies, increased up to 5, which again, for alts, kill some Darklings, get this unlocked so that you can start divvying out those elixir chests as soon as possible. Do not wait on this, right? You're going to help your team. Increase max AP recovery speed, again, so that you can use those skills. Get these unlocked, okay? The other location that you're going to receive these on is going to be your Augur Stone. So you're going to receive 3 from the very first chapter once it's completed. You're going to receive 3 more here. You're going to receive 3 more here, and so on and so forth, right? 3 more there. So you're going to get a lot of these proficiencies as time goes on. Again, you also get the 5 from the start, like right off the rip as soon as you unlock those. It's going to be expensive, but you can manage it. So that is my detailed assessment on the classes. I hope it works for you. I hope you learned something from this, and I hope that you apply it to next season. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, always feel free to reach out to me. Again, thank you for stopping by, and as always, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.